Good morning, children. I welcome you to social class. I hope you all enjoyed and did your assessment well. Yes, we are seeing our first lesson in our geography resource. Before starting our lesson, we will see what we learned in our previous class. Yes, we saw about resource and natural resource. And then what is mean by resource? Anything that can be used to satisfy a need is called a resource. For example, water, electricity, rickshaw, fruits, vegetables, and your book. These are the things that satisfy our need. So, these are called as a resource. Yes, and then characters of resource. There are three characters of resource: utility, value, and economical value. What is mean by utility? A resource which is in the form of object or substance is called a utility. For example, rickshaw, bus, electricity, water, etc. These are the object or substance is in the form of resource. Yes. And then value. Value means worth. Things become resource only when they have a value. Some resource have economical value, some do not have economical value. For example, metal, it have an economical value, but a beautiful landscape may not have an economical value. Yes, another one example is your grandmother's home remedies have no commercial value today, but if they are sold by a medical firm tomorrow, they could become a economical value. Yes, and then the types of resource. There are three types of resource: natural, human made, and human resource. And then what is mean by natural resource? A resource which drawn from nature and used without modification is called natural resource. For example, air, water, and soil. Yes, these are the gift of nature. We are using it directly. We are not doing any changes in that. Yes, many of the resources are free gift of nature and can be used directly. Technology may not be needed to use a natural resource in the best possible way. And the natural resources are classified into different groups depending upon their level of development and use, origin, stock, and distribution. Yes, on the basis of their development and use, the resource can be classified into two groups: actual resource and potential resource. Yes, actual resource means those resource whose quantity is known. These resources are being used in present. As actual resource quantity, we can find it and it is used in the present days. For example, the rich deposit of coal in Ruhr region of Germany. And then potential resource means a resource whose quantity is not known and used in the future. Yes, for example, high speed winds were a potential resource before 200 years, but today they are actual resource, and many wind farms generate energy using windmills like in Netherlands. Yes, by the technological development, the high speed wind is converted into a energy. Yes, and then based on their origin, resource can be classified into two types: biotic and abiotic. Yes, abiotic means non-living. For example, rock, minerals, soil, etc. Biotic means living. For example, plants and animals. Yes, natural resource can be broadly categorized into two types: renewable resource and non-renewable resource. Yes, and then what is mean by renewable resource? Is a resource which can be renewed easily. That means a resource which can be renewed quickly is called renewable resource. These are unlimited resource. For example, solar, wind energy, and energy. Water seems to be unlimited. renewable resource, but shortage and drying up of natural water source is a major problem in many parts of the world today. Yes, and then what is meant by non-renewable resource? A resource which cannot be renewed quickly. Once the stock is exhausted, it takes 1,000 years to be renewed. Example, petroleum, coal, etc. Yes, renewable resource means it can be renewed quickly. Non-renewable resource means it cannot be renewed quickly. Yes, and then these are the examples of renewable resource and non-renewable resource. Solar energy, water, wind are the example of renewable. Phosphate, that is mineral, oil, limestone are the example of non-renewable resource. And then on the basis of their distribution, resources can be ubiquitous and localized. Resources that are found everywhere like air we breathe are ubiquitous, but those which are found only in certain place are localized, like copper and iron. Is and then the distribution of natural resource depend upon number of physical factors like terrain, climate and altitude. The distribution of resource is unequal because these factors differ so much over the earth. Yes, the distribution of natural resources are uneven over all the world because of these physical factors like climate, altitude and terrain. Yes, and then about the human made resource. People use natural resource to make buildings, bridges, roads, machinery and vehicles, which are known as human made resource. Yes, we are using the natural resource and modifying it into a useful product or thing, that is called the human made resource. Yes, sometimes natural substance become resource only when their original form has been changed. For example, iron ore was not a resource until people learned to extract iron from it. And then people use natural resources to make buildings. We use soil, it is a natural resources, no? Soil and then minerals also for constructing a building. Yes, we are modifying the natural resource into a useful resource for us. Yes, and then human resource. People are human resource. Education and health help in making people a valuable resource. People can make the best use of nature to create more resource when they have the knowledge, skill and technology to do so. Yes, people are the special resource. Yes, people are human resource and human beings are a special resource. We are modifying the nature into a useful resources. Yes, we are modifying and we are creating more resources by using the nature with our knowledge, skill and technology. Yes, so they are saying it as a human beings are a special resource. And then conserving resource. Students, just imagine that there all the water on the earth had dried up and all the trees cut down. What happened to the people? Yes, people were suffered a lot and they roam here and there for looking for food and shade. Yes, and then do you know why? Because this happens is because of overuse of all these resources. Yes, using resources carefully and giving them time to get renewed is called resource conservation. Yes, using resource carefully. We should not waste any resource or overuse any natural resource, and we have to give time to get renewed. That is called resource conservation. Balancing the need to use the resource and also conserve them for the future is called sustainable development. Yes, balancing the need to use resource and we also want to conserve all the resource for our future, that is called sustainable development. There are many ways of conserving resource. Each person can contribute by reducing consumption, recycling and reusing things. Ultimately, it makes a difference because all our lives are linked with nature. Yes, the future of our planet and its people is linked with our ability to maintain and preserve the life support system that nature provides. Yes, therefore, it's our duty to ensure that all uses of renewable resources are sustainable. The diversity of life on the earth is conserved. The damage to natural environment system is minimized. Yes, from this whole lesson we came to know about how to conserve the resource and what are the renewable resource and non-renewable resource. We should not overuse any resources because we need to save for our future. Yes, we have to make a new planet. Yes, because all people is linked with our ability to maintain and preserve the life support system that nature provides. Yes, it is nature, it is the free gift of God. So we should not overuse or waste any resources like water or soil, anything. We should not use any resources into waste. Yes, that's all children. Your lesson is over. Note down your homework. Answer the following. Why are resources distributed unequally over the earth? What is resource conservation? Why are human resource important? What is sustainable development? And then differentiate between the following: potential and actual resource, ubiquitous and localized resource. And then try to do the activity in activity 4 in page number 7. Yes, thank you children. Do it, read the whole lesson and complete your homework and then submit it to your class teacher. Yes, we will meet in next class.